Noblemen who owned land made the laws for all the people living there. Matters involving the nobleman's property and matters of the law were settled in the great hall of the castle before the noble and his administrators. During these sessions, tenants often appealed to the noble for judgment. They made respectful complaints or presented local disputes about such matters as inheritance, death, or marriage. Many people arrived at these sessions to pay rents or repay debts due to the noble. In addition to knights, many nobles also employed men at arms. These soldiers had the same equipment as knights, but not the coveted title. It was the duty of the men at arms to protect the castle and lands and keep the peace among the people. The people who lived on the land owned by the noble were mostly peasants, poor, uneducated laborers. The peasants belonged to the land, and therefore the nobleman owner. They were not free to leave without his consent. Most peasants farmed the land for their lord, or one of his knights who had been given some land. In return, peasants were allowed to keep a little food for themselves. This system of government, called feudalism, had a number of positive points. In addition to food, the peasants had the protection of their lord's army and the stability of his laws to solve their disputes. Harsh as feudalism seems, it did add order to an unstable time. Feudalism prevented anarchy and was the beginning of what we now know as the constitutional form of government. The church was important in feudal times. It sometimes clashed with the noble over jurisdiction, but in general, they respected each other's authority. The church blessed and prayed for the noble. In return, the noble protected the churchmen and punished those who spoke against the church. The Catholic Church was a very powerful institution in Europe. For centuries, pilgrims, people with strong religious beliefs, had been traveling to Jerusalem to see the holy place where Jesus had lived and died. The Middle Eastern Arabs, who previously ruled the Holy Land, were Muslims, but they had nevertheless always treated the pilgrims well and respected their Christian beliefs. In the 11th century, Seljuk Turks conquered the Arabs and set up their own Turkish states. They were also Muslims, but did not respect the Christians and did not welcome them in the Holy Land. This angered the Europeans. The head of the Christian Church, Pope Urban II, urged Christians to fight for Jerusalem, and the people responded. Hundreds of thousands of pilgrims and knights trooped to the Mediterranean Sea to fight for their church. These massive treks to Jerusalem were called the Crusades. Some estimate that half of the people who set out did not return. By land, the trip could be as long as 3,000 hazardous miles. Travel involved poor roads, dense forests, steep climbs, mosquitoes, mud up to their knees, bandits, and poor or spoiled food. It became